I found the cleanest Indian street food. I'm still terrified. The humidity hit me like a wall the moment I stepped out of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport. Mumbai, home, or at least where my parents were from. I'd spent my entire life in suburban Connecticut, meticulously planning my life around gluten-free bagels and color-coded spreadsheets. This trip was supposed to be different. This was supposed to be authentic. My mission? To find truly, genuinely clean Indian street food. I know. Sounds like an oxymoron. Every auntie back home had warned me about Delhi belly and the horrors lurking in every samosa. But I was determined. I was a food blogger. Damn it. Anika Eats India was going to be epic. Vikram, or Vic as he insisted on being called these days, was waiting for me, leaning against a ridiculously beat-up Premier Padmini. I hadn't seen him since we were awkward teenagers, awkwardly navigating our shared Indian heritage in an overwhelmingly white town. He'd stayed in Mumbai, embracing it in a way I never could. Anika looking American, he grinned, hugging me. He hadn't changed much, still lanky with that mischievous glint in his eyes. And you, Vic, still rocking the Bollywood reject look? I retorted, bumping my suitcase into the trunk, which groaned in protest. The drive to his apartment was a sensory overload. Honking cars, swerving scooters, the smell of exhaust mingling with spices. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. So, this clean street food thing, Vic said, weaving through traffic like a seasoned pro. You know that's basically a unicorn, right? A mythical creature? I'm optimistic. There has to be someone who cares about hygiene. My voice sounded weak even to myself. The first few days were a disaster. I tried everything. Pav bhaji at a stall near Juhu Beach. Delicious, followed by a suspicious rumble in my stomach. Vada pav near Linking Road. Amazing flavor, questionable oil. Even the supposedly reputable places had flies buzzing around and surfaces that looked like they hadn't been cleaned since the Mughals. Vic just shook his head. This is India, Anika. Embrace the chaos or stick to your quinoa salads. I almost gave up. Almost. Then one evening, walking down Muhammad Ali Road amidst the usual frenzy, I saw it. A small, unassuming stall. No flashy signs, no boisterous hawkers, just a simple hand-painted sign that read Aisha's Kitchen. But what struck me was the cleanliness. Impeccably clean, stainless steel surfaces, gleaming utensils, and a complete absence of flies. It was like a tiny oasis of order in the surrounding mayhem. Aisha, the woman behind the counter, was old, her face etched with wrinkles, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. She wore a spotless white sari and her hands moved with a surprising grace. "Welcome," she said, her voice soft but firm. "What would you like to try?" I ordered the chicken tikka masala. It was incredible. The chicken was tender, the sauce rich and flavorful, but without the usual oily sheen, and, most importantly, my stomach felt perfectly fine afterward. I went back the next day, and the day after that. Aisha's food was consistently amazing, consistently clean. I started documenting it on my blog. Aisha's Kitchen, the holy grail of street food, I wrote. The pictures were stunning. The food looked almost too perfect. But then, things started to get weird. I noticed that Aisha's stall was always strangely quiet. The other vendors were constantly yelling, bargaining and bantering. But around Aisha, there was an unnatural calm. The customers ate with a strange focus, almost a reverence. They didn't talk much, and they certainly didn't haggle over the price. Vic was getting worried. "You're spending all your time at that place, Anika. What's so special about it?" "It's just clean, Vic. And the food is amazing." "You have to try it," he reluctantly agreed. He ordered the mutton biryani. He ate it in silence, then just stared at me. "It's good," he admitted, "but there's something off about it. It tastes, I don't know, too fresh, like it was made 5 minutes ago." That's when I started noticing things. Aisha never seemed to buy ingredients from the local markets. She received deliveries late at night in unmarked stainless steel containers. The containers were large, much larger than what a small stall like hers would need. Then the news reports started. People were disappearing from the neighborhood. Young men, old women, even a couple of tourists. All of them had one thing in common. They had recently eaten at Aisha's stall. I tried to talk to Aisha. "Have you heard about the missing people?" She looked away, her eyes clouding over. "It is a sad thing, but I am just a cook. I do not know about such matters." Her evasiveness made me uneasy. I started having nightmares. Vivid, disturbing dreams filled with shadowy figures and the smell of something metallic. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, convinced that Aisha's food was somehow affecting me. One night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, haunted by the faces of the missing people. I had to know. I had to find out what Aisha was hiding. I snuck out of Vic's apartment and made my way to Muhammad Ali Road. The streets were deserted, the only sound the dripping of water from the monsoon rains. I slipped around to the back of Aisha's stall. The metal shutters were locked, but I found a loose panel at the bottom. I pried it open and crawled inside. The stall was dark and silent. The air was thick with the faint smell of spices, but there was something else too. Something rotten. I fumbled for my phone and turned on the flashlight. The beam danced across the clean surfaces, highlighting the stainless steel pots and pans. Then I saw it. A trapdoor in the floor, hidden beneath a rug. My heart pounded in my chest. I lifted the trapdoor and peered into the darkness. A flight of narrow stairs led down into the unknown. I took a deep breath and descended. The air grew colder, the smell stronger. The stairs ended in a small, damp basement. My flashlight beam revealed a scene that made me want to vomit. It was a makeshift laboratory. Stainless steel tables covered in blood and bone fragments, grinders, blenders, and other contraptions I couldn't identify. And in the center of the room, a large stainless steel container filled with something. I moved closer, my hand trembling. The container was filled with a pinkish-grey substance. It looked like meat, but not like any meat I had ever seen. Then I saw it. A human finger, floating in the viscous liquid. I screamed. Aisha stepped out of the shadows. She was holding a cleaver. Her eyes were cold and empty. "You should not have come here," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. "I was going to bring perfection to the world, and you were going to help me." What is this?" I stammered, backing away. "This," she said, gesturing to the container, "is the future. I take the imperfect, the flawed, and I transform them into something pure, something nourishing. The food I give to others will help them to overcome their imperfections, make them more efficient, more productive." I understood then. The freshness of the ingredients, the strange docility of the customers, the disappearances. Aisha wasn't just cooking food, she was processing people. "You're insane," I shouted. "Insane? No. I am a visionary. I am perfecting humanity." She raised the cleaver. I lunged for her, knocking the cleaver from her hand. We wrestled on the damp floor, the stench of blood and decay filling my nostrils. I managed to kick her in the face, sending her sprawling. I scrambled to my feet and ran, stumbling up the stairs and out of the store. I didn't stop running until I reached Vic's apartment. I burst through the door, babbling incoherently. Vic stared at me, his eyes wide with shock. "Annika, what happened? You're covered in blood." I told him everything. The clean stall, the strange customers, the late-night deliveries, the basement, the laboratory, the meat. He didn't believe me at first, but when he saw the bloodstains on my clothes and the look of pure terror in my eyes, he knew I wasn't lying. We called the police. Detective Inspector Rana, a weary-looking man with a perpetual frown, arrived with a team of officers. He listened to my story with a skeptical expression. "Street food vendor turning people into ingredients? Sounds like a Bollywood movie," he said. But he couldn't ignore the evidence. The bloodstains, the disturbing things I found down there. They raided Aisha's stall. The police found the laboratory, the equipment, the meat. They found evidence linking Aisha to the missing persons. She was arrested and taken into custody. I gave my statement to Detective Inspector Rana. He asked me a lot of questions, his gaze intense and unnerving. "Why do you think she chose you, Miss Sharma?" he asked. "Why did she show you the truth?" I didn't know. Maybe it was because I was so obsessed with her stall. Maybe it was because she saw something in me, some flaw she thought she could correct. "We found something else, Miss Sharma," Detective Inspector Rana said, his voice low. A small scar on Aisha's arm, an unusual shape, almost like a brand. He showed me a picture of the scar. It was identical to a scar they had found on all of the victims. "We don't know what it means yet," he said, "but it suggests that Aisha may be part of something bigger, something more organized." Aisha refused to speak. She just sat in her cell, staring blankly at the wall. A week later, I started feeling sick. Nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps. The doctors ran tests, but they couldn't figure out what was wrong. Then one of the doctors, Dr. Kapoor, called me into his office. He looked grim. "Miss Sharma," he said, "we've identified a rare protein in your blood. It's consistent with cannibalism." I stared at him, my mind reeling. The food, Isha's food. I had ingested human flesh. Dr. Kapoor explained that I was suffering from a rare disease, a prion disease called Kuru. It was incurable. It would slowly destroy my brain. The irony wasn't lost on me. I had come to India in search of authentic cuisine, in search of a connection to my roots. And I had found it, in the most horrifying way imaginable. Now I sit here, in a sterile hospital room, the monsoon rains drumming against the window. My mind is slipping away, my memories fading. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I will ever be able to forget what I saw in that basement. I don't know if Aisha was just a lone madwoman or a pawn in something far more sinister. Detective Inspector Rana visited me today. He looked tired, defeated. Aisha died in custody, he said. Suicide. She wouldn't say anything about the others. He paused, looking at me with a mixture of pity and suspicion. "We found something else, Miss Sharma," he said. "A hidden compartment in her cell. Inside there was a single photograph, a picture of you." He didn't say anything else. He just left. I'm uploading this now before I lose the ability to. Maybe someone will read it. Maybe someone will understand. Maybe someone will stop them. The world needs to know about Aisha. It needs to know about the price of perfection. I found the cleanest Indian street food, and it's killing me.